The Victorian government is rejecting calls from a powerful pandemic oversight committee to release secret surveys polling the mood of Victorians during the COVID lockdowns. Our Victoria political reporter Simon Love has more.
Well, for more than a year, the Andrews government has been under pressure to release surveys that are conducted during the depths of the 112-day lockdown at this time last year. But an independent committee into pandemic management has heaped pressure on Labor to release those reports. In findings released today by the Department of Health, the Independent Pandemic Management Advisory Committee, chaired by Penny Armitage, said behavioural and business insights produced by the Department of Premier and Cabinet should be publicly available and accessible outside government. But the Health Minister, Mary-Anne Thomas, has defended the government's actions, citing privacy concerns.
Our government respects the privacy and confidentiality of all Victorians, and we're certainly not going to release any information that might compromise that.
The opposition's David Davis believes the documents must be released.
I think, in line with the committee, that transparency would be advanced by making this more widely available in a way that is safe. It is clear that most of the recommendations none of the recommendations appear to have actually been followed clearly by the government.
The independent reports into pandemic management released are a fairly mixed review of the government's communications during the COVID-19 pandemic and also the vaccine mandates which were enforced across Victoria. It found that the absence of regular communication and engagement with Victorians from the government and trusted experts since the end of October 2021, when daily press conferences ceased, has likely contributed to the uncertainty around COVID-19 and the government's response to COVID-19 in the future. Misinformation starts to take hold in the absence of more authoritative advice. Meanwhile, Sky News has been told that the Premier, Daniel Andrews, or his private office may have made a captain's call on a decision to change the name of Maroondah Hospital in the city's east to Queen Elizabeth II Hospital. Sky News has been told that the Health Minister, Mary-Anne Thomas, was only informed of the decision within 24 hours of the announcement.
I don't think the question is relevant. The important thing is that I think this is a very fitting tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
It came around the same time that opposition leader Matthew Guy made his own announcement to upgrade the hospital. The government's been under fire even from within Labor ranks for not consulting with Indigenous groups about the name change, given that Maroondah is an Indigenous term. Now, all of this comes as the Andrews government rejects the leaking of a Labor election platform that includes 4-day working weeks and also a plan to keep Victoria's gas reserves inside the state. The Health Minister, Mary-Anne Thomas, rejected that document, saying that it was only a draft, although that's a line that the Andrews government has used before, particularly when COVID restrictions were leaked to the Herald Sun and then ultimately they were then announced.